You're listening to Resource Radio on the Vets on Media Network.
Hi, back. Welcome back to Resource Radio's October 3rd. I have Ryan Parker next to me and the lovely Rita Hudgens. What are you giggling about over there?
I'm just giggling about you. At the break, you almost
Nice.
at the break, you almost cold cocked yourself with the headphones being pinched
I
in
didn't do
I
anything.
need you to move that way.
No. See, okay, wait. Let me give you a little thing about physics. I did 3 semesters of college physics. This is a marble table. Okay,
Clearly it works.
there is no movement in this marble table. Look at this plastic table. Oh, by the way, you're sitting at the plastic table, so it
I'm
was
also
my fault.
not accident.
Wait a second. I was gonna say, yeah, it is having Chris Farley next to you.
I wouldn't say that.
Didn't move.
Rita, you hit on one thing that really resonated with me during our last section of the show was creating reserves. You know, I mean, most businesses, they think about creating financial reserves. So if they run into a tough economic time, they will set aside the finances to be able to, ride out that rough period. For a person like myself, especially, I see that creating reserves can be very difficult. How do you define what a reserve is first off, so that you know what you should be looking for in your life to be able to make it? That's the first thing. And then how do you actually take your life and chunk it down like that to start saying, here's where I'm wasting time, or here's where I'm focusing time on the wrong things and I need to be focusing on the right things? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ryan. And basically, a reserve is having more than what you need in every area of your life. It's not good enough to just have enough, because you never know what is going to happen. I mean, we look at the government shutdown right now, and you look at the consequences of not having reserve.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at our lives. And
Yeah, they're closing down World War II to cemeteries.
Can I
that
give
they
you a little
won't let-
story on that?
Don't get me going, Rita. This is going to get me upset.
Wait,
Well, I just
I'm going to
wanted
start
to.
turning red in the face.
I wanted to just press the importance of having reserve.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just interject on a story? I really wanted to bring
allow
this
Darren
up.
to talk?
Yes,
This
Can
is
we-
serious.
all right.
I heard the story on the way in. I really wanted to talk about it today, and it was a perfect segue. There were some World War II vets that went to one of the memorials.
Yep.
They put a fence up because, quote unquote, they're closed. And these guys said the fences of Normandy didn't stop us. We're not going to let this
Yep.
fence stop us. So all of
And
a
they
sudden,
threatened
all
to
of these-
arrest them if they climbed the
They did,
fence.
but they all broke through. All of these different divisions, Mississippi, Missouri, all these different states of representing those vets, all went through. And
That's awesome.
Well,
that's
George,
awesome. I love it. I love
George from Geobrow put in this morning. He said if they end up arresting one vet, he's gonna find 500,000 people to bring. If George does it, I'm there with him. Because I'll tell you that upsets me to no
it.
end.
Yeah, right, exactly. And these guys didn't care. It's
Yeah.
about memorial. It's not about money.
And they're
Like,
open
give
air
me a break.
spaces too, so they're not supposed to actually be closed down. There's no one that has
It's a
to
joke.
man the
It's a
place.
joke because 800,000 employees are still going to get paid as soon as the government's back up again. They're all going to get cut a check. So where's the motivation?
Okay,
Anyway,
I'm
back
getting
to it.
now.
I know, right?
Now my blood pressure's up. Let's keep talking about reserves. So a reserve is having more in your life, setting aside more in your life than you need. So it's kind of the old thing of no one on their deathbed ever said, "God, I wish I would have gone to more work meetings." They're always like, "I wish I would have spent more time with family."
Right.
So think about that before you get to that point. Is kind of what the thoughts are.
Right, and you're less concerned with survival when you have reserves.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is create reserves, or have my clients create reserves, say financial reserves. Time is huge.
Yeah.
Time reserves, energy reserves, space, self. Another great one is wisdom, because so many times people don't have financial problems, they don't have relationship problems, they have wisdom problems. So it's creating reserves in those areas.
How do you define that? Like if someone wants to have wisdom reserves, is it just taking more time to learn new things? What's the definition of wisdom when it
Maybe
comes to
think
that?
slower and react slower.
That's great, Darren, because slowing people down is huge. Whether I have people that are anxious.
There's another problem for me.
Oh, well, me too.
Man, you just
Yeah.
And that's really where you and I bounce knock heads, is that exact trait right there.
I'm
But that's what
telling you,
makes
man.
us the type A's.
God,
now.
Rita, you can read my mind. What's going on here?
Is she going to bill you after this?
Yeah, exactly. I'm out here. Wait, I got some cash in my pocket. And Kathy just texted me. She's like, "What'd she say?" Tell Rita I love her. Focus on good things like bringing your wife flowers and helping out the little. See, I do owe you money, Rita.
I got
The session's working
but
for me.
doesn't your wife have that set to be sent at 9:00 every morning, anyways?
Yeah, Kathy, you know what I'm going to teach you how to do?
Do
is
that, Kathy.
I'm going to teach you how to use Siri, and then when I leave the office one day, it's going to say, "Go buy Kathy flowers."
We should hook her up with Josh Dominguez so she sends you reminders every day on a card. Remember your wife at home.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know a woman that got divorced because her husband set his phone for reminders, and she said if he can't think of it himself, then forget it.
Well,
So-
Kathy gets mad at me.
Don't you think that's a little
Kathy
I
asks
can
me-
understand why she'd be upset.
Kathy
but-
does say to me all the time, "What are all these little notes around the house?" I like notes to remind myself to do things, and then I have to have a reminder to remind myself that I wrote the note. So it's one of those things where it's just like they're all over the place. I have these notes. She's like, "You have more lists than anybody I know. The shopping list is shorter than your lists."
Are you the one that put the Post-it notes all over that truck in the parking lot then?
That was not me, actually. That was not me.
Maybe that was Adam.
Yeah. Oh, look at it. It's like he's got the schoolboy look.
I got an iPhone, leave me alone.
Yeah. So a little bit more about wisdom. So how does someone evaluate wisdom in their life? Because I see myself as always wanting to learn more. I'm one of those guys that I'm constantly trying to learn. So if wisdom reserves are important, what are they? How do you define it?
The best definition that I've heard for wisdom is knowledge applied. So you said it, just acquiring the knowledge and having the time to slow down.
Yeah.
And to evaluate things in knowing yourself, in knowing in your case, your wife, your daughter, your coworkers, and then applying that. That's, to me, that's the best definition of wisdom.
So it's not just thinking through, but actually putting something actionable to it.
And it's personal wisdom, not wisdom to others, too, really. I mean, isn't there a defined difference here? You're not telling somebody else with your wisdom, you're using it on yourself.
Well, you're using it on yourself, but it will affect people because
Right.
your decisions
That rub-off thing, right?
Yeah.
do affect people. And you know what? That's another law of attraction, basically, is people are attracted to wise people. People are
Sure.
attracted to those that have the
That's
solutions.
that's another
and
thing.
have the
I
answers.
do not date dumb. I can't stand bimbo girls. I just can't. I just can't. What's wrong with that?
Just the way you put
What's
it.
wrong with saying
I
that?
don't date dumb. I'm going to get a shirt
don't
printed
date
for
dumb.
you that says that. It's going to say, "My name is Darren.
I don't-
date dumb." And then it's going to have an arrow pointing up to yourself.
With an asterisk on the back that says something like excludes me.
I love the fact that we can poke fun at ourselves and that I can open up my
don't
entire
think there's
personality on the air.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that you only want to date somebody intelligent, though. I
I
mean,
don't think there's
there's
anything wrong with
absolutely
that.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, it's part of the communication, too. That's really where it comes in, because there's some people out there that they can't hold a conversation because maybe they spent their life on their phone. Like the kids, it really is an irritant for me. So those kids walking around at 10 years old with their nose in their phone. I was at a baseball game. Whole family's there watching the baseball game. 3 kids are on the front there. And they're watching the game, and the parents dropped a bunch of money, and there's no entertainment, no family value, no nothing in that whole situation.
You want to do an interesting exercise? Go stand down at ASU right outside the library and watch the kids walk from class to class and see how many of them actually communicate with each other.
Right.
Brian and
That's
I,
true.
Brian and
That's
I
a
did
good
that one day.
point.
We
That's a
actually
good
sat
point.
there. We were watching them.
That'd be a great documentary film to do.
No one communicates anymore. They're all looking at their phone. They all have their headphones on. There's no interpersonal communications. And I think, Rita, that's going to be just a whole boatload of clients for you. Because these are people that do not know how to interact with each other. It's amazing. Like, I remember when I went
They
to...
can, as long as it's electronic. That's the thing.
But I
They
remember
can't
when I went
talk.
to NAU...
It's 160 digits or less.
Yeah, when I was up at NAU, it was amazing because I had to do a mile walk from my dorm down to the College of Business. And I mean, I swear I had to plan like an hour because I was saying hi to everybody. What's up? What's going on? High fives. I'd stand at the hill where when it got snowy and icy, everyone biff on their bikes. So I'd stand there for 5 minutes and watch everybody wipe out, and I'd keep going. And it was just, it's one of those things in today's day and age.
I'm picturing the situation where, you're all happy, bouncing and doing a little skip in your set. Hi, guys. Give them a high five. Throwing apples to people. Here you go.
No, this isn't like some Dude, this is not a Disney movie that you're talking about here.
The little birds are following around by your head and
Little bluebirds.
singing around, yeah. Zippity doo dah, zippity yay.
No, Darren, that's not how it looked. I was a little bit cooler than that. Just a little.
But Rita, were you not picturing that in your head though for
Yeah.
a second when I said that?
I was just picturing that's made Ryan part of what's made Ryan who he is,
Yeah,
and how
right.
personable he is.
Yeah, I just... Yeah, so I need to create
So
more...
your whole personality, by the way, has been narrowed down to the guy that sings zippity doo dah to the birds.
Great. There's me and Snow White sitting next to each other, feeding the deer and birds chirping on our shoulders. And then Adam comes by with his shotgun and kills Bambi. Okay.
Goes mom. He's the hunter that did it at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah,
The mom,
exactly.
yeah.
You took out the... Well, Kathy got mad at me. I found this game. I did make some time for myself last night. I found a game on my iPad that is this little ninja that fishes. And then you pull the fish up, and then you have to cut him apart with your sword. And it was a great stress reliever for me. I know it sounds like totally crazy, but you catch sea turtles.
like Benny Hines.
And of course, I have a desert tortoise at the house. So Kathy's like, how can you play a game where you're cutting up turtles? She got so mad at me last night. And I'm like, it's a game. It's not real. And it's like, it's not like I'm going out like Adam does and like looking for animals to kill or anything like that. I'm just kidding, Adam. You know I love you, man. It's true, though. So, all right, let's get back to our reserves. So what are some of the other reserves that you see are very important? If wisdom's important, what are some of the other ones we need to do?
I think the obvious one is time.
Okay.
Is just to be able to create time, whether it's an hour a day. 2 hours seems like a stretch. I know 2 hours for me would be impossible, but time is huge.
So how do you do it? I mean, I see you at the gym. I know you teach Pilates. You have your business. You have your son, who, by the way, that kid needs to get into modeling. He is such a good-looking young man, and even with a red mohawk, the guy just looks studly. You need to get him into some kind of like modeling career, because I think literally he can make his own way with just that.
Oh, well, thank you. Actually, he did have a modeling contract
Really?
a few years ago.
Cool.
But what happened was he just got tired. We would have to film. We didn't know you then, but he would get not interviews, but
Call sheets where he had to do some
call
readings.
sheets. And there I was, in his room. And the last one, it was one for the Reba McEntire show that started, I don't know if it was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And it was then he was
To do what? Is he a dancer too then? Or?
He dances
oh,
as
okay.
well.
All right.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know he
dances as well.
danced.
He
Really?
dances, yes.
Man, that kid's got
He's
a
great
good
dancer.
future ahead of him.
Thank you. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
He's my best
Oh,
friend.
he came to the BNI meeting and just very personable, just a well-rounded young man.
Is that the same kid
you.
that thought you forgot him I read your blog about forgot him at the baseball field? Yeah, see?
That's the
We
same
do
kid.
our research
Hey,
here.
Yeah,
let's,
you guys are good.
you got to understand something. This kid's got a future because his name is Rock.
I know,
Can you
right?
believe that? I mean, that is just if I had the name Rock, I'd be like explaining it everywhere. I'd be like walking up to the girls. My name's Rock.
Yeah, you got to give him a
Yeah.
special jacket like Johnny Bravo, you know.
I mean, not only that, he's a good-looking kid. He can wear a mohawk. I mean, he's set.
And not everybody can pull off a mohawk either.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people try, but not everybody looks
Oh
good
man,
with one. Yeah.
if you would have seen me when I was younger and some of the hairdos I had, you would have thought I was sitting next to Snow White with birds on my shoulder. It was pretty bad. Pretty bad.
You know, white and nerdy. Cruising on your Segway.
Yeah. So for time, how do you do it? I mean, with all these things in your life, with the kids, Pilates, your business, finding time to go to BNI, network, meet people, how do you do it?
And taking care of my mom.
And taking
who's
care of your mom, yeah.
99 and has dementia, which is, huge. I think
Yeah.
it's having a mindset for me, and that realizing I'm very grateful for my mom and for her life.
Yeah.
And you talk about the veterans in Normandy. I mean, my dad was there the second day after D-Day. And so I value people, I value their lives. And so just having that mindset that things aren't a drudgery, but they really are. It's a blessing to be able to do that. Having
does
that
your-
slows me down.
Can I ask you a personal question? Does your mom still know you?
She
Like, she has those moments?
I am the strongest connection to the present to my mom. Sometimes she'll look at me and she'll say, "Can you tell me when Rita Marie's going to come and pick me up and take me home?" But that doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
But for me, to answer your question, it's a mindset. So I have that mindset of being grateful and being thankful. And things are crazy.
You can still hug your mom.
I can still hug my mom.
And that's
yeah.
my mom's
And-
90, so but she still lives by herself and drives, and she just recently got hearing aids. Like finally spent good money on hearing aids. So now we can talk. We actually had an hour conversation before it was but that. Yeah, she didn't hear
That's
me.
nice.
And, yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
so I know what it's like to have your mom, and it'll be a
Yeah.
sad day when she goes too for me.
Yeah, and even with my son, it's crazy. It's carpooling here, and it's, picking up here and taking here, and there's dance and there's baseball. But I just look at it, that time, that driving time is so valuable, because pretty soon he's going to have his license, and he's
Yeah.
going to be on his own, and
gone,
there's going to
and
be more
3
distance.
weeks before you see him and whatever else, right? Especially if he
Right.
goes away to college, you won't see him for months.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I just look at valuing where I'm at, and that helps tremendously.
It sounds like you found a good balance with understanding how to be grateful for your successes, where on my side I seem to just keep moving. How did you do that? Like, how is that something that's learned? Is that something that is it just self-reflection that you've realized that you have to be grateful for those blessings that you've been given?
Well, I'm quite a bit older than you, Ryan. So I think
Stop.
I think
Stop.
life experience. Well, I do have 3 other children, and the rest of them are out of the house. So I do know that the relationship changes.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing I wish I could have done, it was to slow down.
Yeah.
Just to slow down and enjoy where I was.
Isn't that what you do with
even when it's
grandkids? I find
tough.
myself doing that with mine.
I don't have grandkids.
Oh, okay.
So I don't
well,
know. Sorry, dear.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really not making up for time because but I was younger with my kids and working, and now I got more time to spend with them, and so they're always constantly around me, and so I hope that continues as well.
Well, we have to go to a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about work-home life balance when we return.